My guest at this time is a former WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He is a WWE Hall of Famer. He is a hardcore icon. It is Mick Foley. Mick, thank you so much for taking the time with me today.
Thank you. If you saw me silently burping, you saw I just scarfed down a double burger.
I know. I was almost going to take video of you just eating the burger because I think people would weirdly like that. I don't know why, you know?
You don't get much of a chance to really enjoy it at one of these things. I just finished a show. Had a lot of fun, and they had a burger waiting, and I kept it over there. I was like, it was calling out to me. Yeah, and I finally rearranged so that I had. I don't know. It's probably more information you need.
No. This is exactly what people want right now. This is a good opener for the interview. Now I've seen you do your 10 years. Was it the 10 Years of Hell?
20 years.
20 Years of Hell tour, that's right. That was the last time I saw it. This was a very different show because it was less Hell in a Cell based. It was more free form. What is the difference between this show and the shows you're doing with the 20 Years of Hell tour?
Well, the 20 years had one main subject. You know, it was really an in-depth look at one historic night. And it was also a show that I worked on diligently. And this was one, this is calling it in the ring tonight as opposed to working on stuff. So what I did, knowing there was the potential for great failure, or at least for underperforming, I decided to overperform at the table with the three faces of Foley, three signatures. So therefore, even if I didn't come up big, I would come up big and send people home with a smile.
I will say that my favorite part of the show tonight was you channeling Mankind and actually becoming Mankind in front of the crowd. How is that for you, going back to that character, reliving it like that?
You know what? That's a fun story for me to tell. That's not on video anywhere. And I started doing that when I had a tough crowd. Like the tour we did in all across Canada went really well. The one exception was a show in Timmins that was very underattended. And I need something to jolt me into the moment. And when I do that voice, when I get into that character, I mean, I can look out at the crowd and I can read their faces, and their faces are, and I'll verify it later. Like, they can't believe I'm bringing my A game for the small crowd. And the next time I specifically remember doing it for the same reason was when I had a show done in conjunction with a comic convention where Kane and I had only been booked the day before. Okay. So there's no one who even knows that we're at the convention, let alone that I'm doing a show. Yeah. So Mayor Jacobs agreed to be my special guest, for the Q&A. And he was like, how many people do you think will be there? I was like, Glenn, there might be 500, there might be 10. We're going to try to give them the best show we could. Opened up the door a lot closer to 10 than it was 500. Not only that, it was the exact opposite of what you're looking for from a showroom. You want low ceilings, fairly dark lighting. You want people fanned out around the stage, and this was bright lights, huge, 500-seat ballroom, and tables scattered throughout. And I just thought, this is good, because all of the shows had gone so well that I didn't have any bad experiences to talk about. Yeah. And the bad experiences make for good stories. Oh, 100%. So it's like once in a while you actually hope for a bad night just so you have something to talk about.
Well, hey, I brought up Mankind there and how much I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed what I thought was kind of a little bit of a passing of the torch at the Raw reunion with your bit with Bray Wyatt. How much of what he's doing right now with The Fiend kind of reminds you of the work you did with Mankind?
Well, I think, it's nice to look at the show and see, your fingerprints here and there, whereas, 10 years ago when I left, there were a lot of people who had grown up idolizing Rick and Shawn and Brett, and you could see that in the work. And so now you have guys like Bray who told me, years ago, look, I'm doing something in a rocking chair, because he had gotten the rocking chair from an interview I did for Randy Orton. Okay. And you see it a little bit like in Aleister Black with the rocking, and like Sue Young and Rosemary, and I love it. The Sammy Callahan doing the Cactus Driver. Yeah. And so, man, I feel for Bray, because you want a finishing move you can do to anyone at any time, and the Mandible Claw, especially going back to the roots of it, where it was a pretty terrifying maneuver, is something that is all his now.
So you've officially, did he have to ask permission for you? Did you have that moment? Did you have that conversation backstage with Bray Wyatt?
People can read between the lines, but even in his tweet, and he generally tweets in character, and he said, "I'm sorry, but thank you." Like I certainly took that as a nod of appreciation, and I like that.
You teased that you were coming for the 24/7 championship. You didn't quite get to pull it off that night. Is that still something? Do you want to bring that title back to Mick Foley here sooner than later?
Oh yeah, because I've been working on my schoolboy roll-ups. I mean, I'd like to air like a training video of me just working on that one move. Look, I mentioned in this show that what didn't work for the revealing of the 24/7 title was that it was a bait and switch where people didn't care for the switch. They thought it was going to be the hardcore title. It wasn't. In the case of the Raw reunion, I thought I thought the switch was even better than the bait. It was. It tried to build it up to be as much fun as it could be, and then the rug got pulled out from underneath me. So.
I want to ask you as well. I do commentary for Warrior Wrestling in Chicago. You know where I'm going with this, don't you?
I'm afraid I do. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you have a particular hardcore challenge that you've accepted.
Let's make it clear. It's a challenge. It's not a match.
Right.
I cannot go from my last match being with Ric Flair to Frank the Clown, which is why I made it clear in no way, shape, or form is this going to be a match. So Frank is cutting promo after promo. I did a 15-second promo because I didn't think Frank deserved anything more than that. And I think he got the point across. So I hope it's fun, but that's not my goal necessarily, Okay. Not necessarily to make it a fun experience for Frank.
Yeah, so you're gonna decimate this man, right? You're gonna give internet wrestling fans, I guess, what they want, which is to completely destroy Frank the Clown, I'd hope. Yes.
What I want, more importantly, is no clown babies, and I'll do my best with whatever I have to use to make sure that his testicles are tormented.
Wonderful. Well, Mick, I want to thank you so much for taking some time backstage here at your show. I always enjoy you talking with you. I enjoy watching your set. Is there anything you want to plug, promote, put over here before we wrap up the interview today?
You had a huge beard the last time I saw you, right?
I did, and I look back on those photos, and your beard is cool. You're iconic with your beard and everything, but I looked like homeless, man. And my girlfriend really did not like the beard look. Do you think I should bring it back?
She doesn't like it?
She does not like it.
Still with her?
Oh yeah.
I think you need to show her who wears the pants in this relationship.
Dude, she's out of my league. You married like a supermodel.
Oh, yeah. So, don't grow the beard back under any circumstance.
She's way too hot for me.
I would never actually in my real life suggest that anyone show who wears the pants in a relationship. That's ridiculous.
Or the sweatpants. I mean, that's like your style, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about all the wrestlers real fast? You wear the Fanny Pack. The Fanny Packs are making a comeback.
They are. I see a friend of mine here. He's wearing it much like Seth Rollins did when he and the Man took me out to the movies.
Oh, yeah.
And Seth was wearing, and I love the fact that that's detailed on the WWE Network. They did their day of, and you can see the Man. I didn't even know we were being filmed. Yeah. And she asked me if I wanted to, Becky and I don't get to see Becky, and she's a really good friend. I'm so flattered she still brings up my name in interviews as someone who was an influence on her. And so they were going to be at the same convention, and she asked me if I wanted to see The Lion King with them. And it was on video. It's like, yeah, it was great. Yeah. So, yes, Seth was wearing the fanny pack over the shoulder. Mm-hmm. The only reason I'm not wearing mine currently is because it's a sad day when you have to extend the waistline because you haven't kept up with your DDP yoga, which I have not. And so I would rather just leave it and then wait and put it on a few days or a week from now when I have slimmed down sufficiently.
Okay, this reminded me, actually, I have one thing that, and this is on behalf of my girlfriend, I have to ask you about. You brought us together, like she does. She's not like watching wrestling all the time, but she does watch some wrestling-related content. Okay. You brought us together to watch an episode of Say Yes to the Dress. Wow. Which I would not have typically watched. Yeah. She loves that show, so you brought some harmony to our relationship. Right. What was that like for you, being on Say Yes to the Dress and helping Kid Cadet choose that dress?
It was a lot of fun. I've been around a while, so I know when I'm invited to help someone pick out, make the most important fashion decision of their life, and being without any fashion sense. Like I know that it's a nice contrast. And I'd never seen the show, but once I saw Randy, I was like, oh yeah, I know how to work with Randy. And I didn't specifically, I didn't say, hey, you want to know what's in my fanny pack? Yeah. They asked me about Mr. Sacco, right. And I happen to have had him. And I did just happen to have a pair of spare underwear, so that when they asked me, again, it just happened to be there. That's why I tell the best advice I ever gave Becky Lynch was be patient, be ready, be prepared. So certainly I was hoping they would ask. Yeah. And then when I pulled out the underwear, and they said, you have underwear? It's like, it's a 3-day trip. I'm packing light. And then we got that little, what we say in comedy is a callback, because when Heather was all teary-eyed after finding the perfect dress, you see me easing that pair of underwear out like the modern-day handkerchief. And also when it was clear that she'd found the dress of her dreams, and I was like, only one more thing, and I went to take off the fanny bag and put it on her, and Randy shot me that look and said, you better not. So it was so much fun that when I did the wedding ceremony, surprisingly good job, I think, for my first time. And the showrunner goes, you don't have the fanny pack? And I said, well, it's in the car. I wasn't planning on wearing it to, marry this couple. And I was like, why, do you think I should get it? She goes, I think people want to see the pack. So it's become its own character now. Yeah.
Well, I had to ask. I mean, I asked you about it. Led to this conversation. It's so iconic as part of your shtick. Right? So
my shtick.
Yeah. Is that an okay term to use? I was gonna say gimmick, but you told on stage you were like, don't talk like you pretend like you understand the business.
Okay. Shtick would be if I was doing a set in the Catskills.
Too much time with Bill Apter. Did you know Bill played the Catskills?
I know Bill. It's like.
Sorry, I had to force in my.
Bill videoed my wedding. Did you know that?
I did know that, and you are like really good. You made a video for his son or something like that, right?
Yeah, and Bill does an amazing Cookie Monster.
Oh, that's right.
So when my kids are having trouble sleeping, I would call Bill, sometimes in the wee hours of the morning. Bill, can you do a little Cookie Monster for me?
Yeah, Cookie Monster. Yes. No, I'm familiar with it. I used to co-host Bill's podcast. We have a clip where there's like a voice in the ether. There's like we think a dead wrestler tried to come in on the podcast one time. Yeah. For real? Yeah. I'll send it to you. Shoot? As a shoot.
Is she a shoot? I just told you not to do all that stuff, right?
I was trying to be on my bed. No, it's like a haunted audio clip with Bill.
Yeah, I'm going to bring up, this is an exclusive for you guys, okay? Starting with the show I do at Starcast, I believe Bill wanted me, like he asked me about a favorite opponent, and then I said Terry Funk, and then he was like, okay, give me a promo against Terry Funk, and I just said, Bill, I can't do it anymore. Like I can't switch in and out of characters like I used to, with the exception, the Mankind thing. But I'm going to, in the vein of like fantasy football and fantasy wrestling, I'm going to do a fantasy promo. I'm going to think of fantasy promos to go like, what would I say if I were to face current wrestlers of the day? Okay. What kind of promo would I go with? Okay. And that's something that I won't just like pull out. Maybe when I get into the groove, I'll be good enough to where I can just pull it out of my hat, or where there's a child here, so I won't pull it out of anywhere else. But I'm going to work on this, and I'm going to work on it and try to make it the best promo. I never used to write my promos, back in the day, but it's a different day, different age, and I don't have the I'm a little rusty, so I'm going to work on a promo and break it out for the Starcast people.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and you bring up Starcast real fast. I know I got to run to go do the takeover thing, and you got to finish your food and all this stuff. But you brought up Starcast. What do you think of AEW? What do you think of them entering the marketplace?
Yeah, I mean, they're coming across in a strong way. Yeah. I mean, I think it's more impressive that I sold 200 tickets in 3 months. But if they want to brag about selling 12,000 in 2 hours, good. Yeah, good for you guys. Good for you. Yeah.
Cool. Mick, thank you so much for the time. You're wonderful. Check them out. Anything you want to plug, promote, put over here before we wrap it up?
What am I, DDP? I might as well plug DDP Yoga. Bang, since I'm going to start doing it again. I got to drop some LBs.